What's up, guys? We are here today inside the secret back room at Curated in downtown Miami. We are sitting with probably, and this is a bold statement, one of my favorite cars of all time. So many times people ask me, John, what is a great investment? What should I buy? What do you think is one of those super undervalued cars? And I tell everyone, it's a Ferrari 348, Ferrari F355 Challenge car. These are the last of their kind. They're the last Ferrari factory race cars that essentially an enthusiast could race and drive. 1990s, Ferrari started the Ferrari Challenge program, which was essentially a gentleman's driver, you could call it series, a spec series, for originally the 348 cars. The first cars, when they first started this series, were actually road cars. So they were the Ferrari 348 TB and the Ferrari 348 TS, much like this car here. And then they were converted at the dealer using a crate of parts. In those parts came Speedline 18-inch magnesium wheels, OMP factory racing seats, OMP specific roll cage. You had brake duct parts, you had bumpers, you had an exhaust. So the kids came with let's call it 10, 12 unique pieces, including an OMP fire extinguisher. And then later, come 1994, Ferrari actually made let's call it less than 50 factory 348 Challenge cars. Proves that the series was successful. So come 1995, Ferrari launches the Ferrari F355 Challenge. Now, what I love about specifically the 348 and the 355 is these are essentially cars that you could go to the racetrack, change your tires, change your wheels, race for the day and leave. Now, not everyone did that, but I do remember as a young guy where guys would actually drive their challenge cars on the street. So these early 348 cars and a few of the early 355 cars actually had a street car title. So, in many ways, this is like one of the last eras of gentleman driving, gentleman racing, similar to the days of the 1960s, where you could essentially drive your 250 Ferrari to the racetrack and drive it home. Very, very, very cool and unique car. So let's call it the 355, then came later as the Challenge series evolved, the 360. Now the problem really with the 360 is that they used F1 gear systems and they were a much more complicated car. This is essentially a car that you could run and work on yourself. Manual, yes, that's the last of the manual Ferrari Challenge race cars. So the 348 and 355 all came with a 5-speed manual. 355 was a 6-speed manual. And this is the end of an era. What's cool about this car, it was actually one of the first 348 Challenge cars to race the series. It was raced by a gentleman by the name of Paul Frame. I think he was actually, if I'm not mistaken, one of the first guys to get a delivery of a US F50 in America. He raced with Ferrari of Houston, and he actually did fairly well. He did pretty well. He was later arrested in a scandal, which probably adds to the car's provenance or maybe takes away from it. But this is a very, very cool car. It actually is one of a few US cars that also went over to Italy to race the Ferrari Challenge. It was called the Mondial in Italy. So we did the World Challenge, the final race. Very, very unique car. And today we're gonna go over some of the things that make this car great and how are we gonna restore this old race car. So as you can see, we've started on our very own 348 Challenge restoration project. We're gonna do everything to this car from paint, interior to mechanical. Luckily, a lot of it is very, very original. You look at the car and you see those are actually the original brakes. They're 348 brakes. That the early 348 cars just had brake ducts. It wasn't until 1995 where they introduced the large Brembo race brakes. You can see that majority of the car, it hasn't been in too many accidents. It's actually original paint. There's areas here that actually have the original graphics that would have been installed for the season. We've got, yes, the original OMP carbon Kevlar seats. Very, very rare to see. You don't see these. Everybody updated them to the newer Momo or Sparco seats. As you can see, it's like a yellow carbon Kevlar, similar to like an F40 seat. Unfortunately, someone recovered these in a McDonald's scheme at some point in its life. This is not the correct material. It's actually supposed to be similar to how what's around this logo here, and that actually might have been cut from the original fabric. Red Nomex, it's like a fireproof material. The original fire extinguisher, even the roll cage is all original. It still has its original stickers. That's really nice to see. We're gonna try to leave that untouched. We are gonna repaint the whole car, reskin the seats. The steering wheel is very, very nice, old original. We might actually leave that, but then completely pull the motor, go through everything. And then last but not least, we've got our Speedline magnesium wheels. These are stunning, stunning wheels. Actually, you see now a lot of guys put these on 348, 355 street cars. They don't actually make these anymore. These are like gold. I mean, honestly, they sell like, I don't even know the sort of, if you had a formula for what they've gone up in value, but they're very, very expensive now. This is an original set, and these are gonna go back to white, which this car actually, from photos from 1995, this car raced with white wheels and yellow wheels. Gotta admit, I like the white wheels on this car. So really, it's a great, great, great survivor. And let's see what we can do in the next 6 to 8 months. But we're excited to share the project with you guys.